Hello and welcome to Nouakchott, Mauritania. Our guest today is the President of Mauritania, Mr. Mohamed Ould Abdel Aziz. Thank you, Mr. President, for welcoming us here in Nouakchott, where is held the Summit of the African Union. I'll start with one of the main issues of the summit, security. G5 Sahel. There was a spectacular terrorist attack against the headquarters of the G5 Sahel in Sevare, in Mali. What is your reaction to this terrorist attack and the symbol of this attack?
Well, of course, what happened is regrettable, all the more so because it was an attack on the very heart of our security system. I mean, the headquarters of the G5 Sahel in the very middle of Mali. That's regrettable. It's a message sent by the terrorists at this specific time when we are seeking to stabilize our region of the Sahel, of the greater Sahel. And we have experienced this with a lot of pain.
Were people negligent? Was this headquarters badly protected?
Certainly, yes. There was negligence. I mean, this is the very heart of our system of defense, of our system to combat terrorism. So the fact that there was this attack successfully means that there were shortcomings, many shortcomings, that we have to correct as quickly as possible if we want, because we must, continue to stabilize our region and make it secure.
G5 Sahel is something that France has pushed forward. You can see the operations are rather limited. Financing for the future is not assured. Is there a risk of failure of the G5 Sahel? Everybody says, yes, it's a good thing, but things are moving slowly.
Well, I wouldn't agree with everything you're saying. I mean, G5 Sahel is the Sahel. Yes, France is helping us, France assists us. France has been helping us in this respect, but the G5 Sahel is the Sahel. It's the 5 states of the Sahel. It's a sovereign initiative of the Sahel states, the 5 Sahel states, which are experiencing a lot of problems, which have to do not just with security, poverty, drought, unemployment, clandestine migration. And it is because of these terrible difficulties that we have that we decided to come together, to unite, to pool our resources.
Aren't you concerned about financing? It's assured for this year, but not for the future. Are you launching an appeal?
Yes, we are afraid of a shortage of financing, and quite frankly, we don't understand why that's a problem. We're combating a phenomenon that affects not just the Sahel member states, but beyond that, it affects the entire planet, all of Africa, and it is affecting many European states as well, be it in the form of terrorist attacks, clandestine migration. And we are not at all satisfied with the lack of understanding and the lack of aid that we are receiving for this effort. Many doors are closed to us in the United Nations. We have a very large mission in Mali.
You would like the United Nations to finance the force?
Yes, it's a United Nations force. I mean, we're talking about 13,000 men. The cost paid by the international community, by the United Nations or the Security Council, some $1 billion. And we've often spoken to other states about this. We, the 5 states of the Sahel, we've put the force together, but we're lacking in resources, and we're not even getting understanding from the international community, despite the fact that we're combating a phenomenon that affects everyone. And for us to exist, at least for a certain period of time, if not longer, to deal effectively with this problem, will require those resources, which we're not getting. We're combating terrorism, drug trafficking, and clandestine migration.
I'll talk about the migration. It's a major issue in Europe. There was a summit of the European Union who made some decision creating regional platform of landing in other countries in North Africa. Several countries said no. Countries from the Maghreb. Would you be ready to welcome such kind of centers? Yes or not?
Who, we?
Mauritania, your country.
Well, the question has not yet been put to us.
Morocco and Tunisia said no.
But let's really try to deal with the problem upstream before people end up drowning in the Mediterranean.
But Europe seems to be closed.
Well, but look at Libya. I mean, the efforts in Libya today cost more than the aid provided to a number of African states that are in dire straits. I'm not saying that the poverty in Africa is Europe's fault, but it has to be dealt with.
Are you shocked that Europe is closing its door and says to the immigrants should remain in Libya? We know there is slavery. There was some scandals there. Isn't it shocking you?
Well, this issue of slavery, I mean, first of all, has this really been demonstrated?
Are you doubting it?
Yes, I doubt it. I haven't seen the evidence. We're talking about people who are in very difficult
Conditions
situations.
are dreadful for the immigrants.
Yes, indeed. But that's not the fault of Libyans.
Well, isn't it the responsibility of the Europeans to leave them in Libya?
But what else, you know, who destroyed Libya, after all?
France?
Libya was a state with an atypical system that some people didn't like, but it functioned. And during that period, there was no clandestine migration, there were no terrorist attacks in France.
So everything stems from there.
So, yes, I mean, a country was destroyed, it was completely leveled, and this freed up or liberalized, if you will, terrorist groups. Everything that could be bad for the West was done in Libya, and you can see the consequences for both Libya and the entire Mediterranean basin.
When the Western countries want to have elections held in Libya by the end of December, do you say we're going too fast?
Well, I'm not saying it's necessarily too early. I would just say that to organize elections, I mean, after all, there were elections in the past in Libya, which gave no result whatsoever. A political system without the means required to ensure security in a hostile environment, which is spewing up terrorist, uncontrolled groups. To have elections seems to me to be utopian. That's my view.
Well, that's crystal clear. Let's get to one of the other issues of the summit, which is recurring for years, rather quickly, the issue of the Polisario, the Western Sahara. Is it totally blocked? It's an old conflict which seems without any exit. Would you say we'll never get there to anything?
No, I wouldn't say never.
You think it?
No, I don't think it either. I mean, it's a process that will have to end up in one way or another. Negotiations are underway. It's a difficult situation that we're experiencing, and really I concentrate on the dramatic side of it, the drama for the people living in Western Sahara. And I think we all have a duty to leave no stone unturned to find a solution that would get the Western Sahara out of the situation and that would free up our region to concentrate on something else. But there has to be an agreement among the different parties involved. And this must be done as quickly as possible.
Let's get to Mauritania. There were several cases that have been pinpointed by Human Rights Watch. The case of a blogger, Mohamed Ould, who was supposed to have been freed following a verdict in an appeal in 2017. And the organizations wonder, where is this person? Can you tell us, where is this person? Is he free or not?
Well, the individual concerned is in Mauritania. The person became a blogger and started to behave in a way that is inappropriate for a Muslim in Mauritania, for a practicing Muslim in Mauritania. And that's what he did as a blogger.
Is he free or not?
He is, in fact, partially free. From the judiciary side, yes, he's been released, but for reasons of security and stability, the individual is in fact under house arrest.
Another person who talked about the working group about the arbitrary detention said that the former senator Mohamed Ould should be freed immediately because the conditions of his trial, of his detention, were not respected. Will you obey this injunction of the working group of the UN by freeing him, or do you think that they're going the wrong way?
Well, I can tell you from the outset that we're not going to follow that recommendation for reasons specific to our country. We are a sovereign state. I mean, it's not people who are 4,000 or 5,000 kilometers away and who don't know what's happening in our country who are going to give us instructions as to us acting in one way or another. This person is detained because he's in conflict with the Mauritanian judiciary. It's up to the judiciary to release him, to detain him, or to try him.
It's a problem for the image of your country.
It's not a question of image. I mean, we have a judiciary that is dealing with the problem. It's up to the judiciary to deal with this issue and to say whether or not the individual should be released or not. It's not for others to tell us what to do. And in fact, others who don't really know much about our country.
Last question, Mr. President. The question asked to you, but to several other leaders on the African continent. The third mandate. You said that you will not represent yourself for a third term in 2019. Can you confirm this? Whatever the circumstances, you will not run again for a third term. It's in the Constitution, and you are committed to that.
I have said it. I've said it several times, and I repeat it once again today. Many are unhappy about this. Some people from the opposition want to take advantage of this, but they've been sort of blown away by a wind not coming from the west. But yes, I must respect the Constitution, and I will not stand for a third term.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your time, and thank you for watching this interview on France 24. Stay tuned for more news.